Hi, I'm Leslie MacRossie, an East Wash Park resident and also a member of the Communications Committee on the Wash Park East Neighborhood Association. And a couple of weeks ago at our quarterly happy hour, I was able to meet John Bardeen, who is one of our Wash Park neighbors, and he is also the founder, his family is the founder of the pumpkin carving kits that you'll find in the grocery stores. So we are here today with John, and he's going to take us through a pumpkin carving experience. We will also talk about some tips and tricks on preserving your pumpkins so the squirrels don't eat them. And
that's right.
We're just excited to be with you on episode number 2 of Getting to Know Your Community.
Well, I'm very happy to be on the video list as meeting your neighbor, and I think it'll be a fun session.
Wonderful. Let's get started. John Bardeen's family is the founder of the pumpkin carving kits that you see in the store. So I'm so grateful that you have us here today. Thank you.
Well, we had started carving intricate pumpkins back in the 1940s. My dad wanted a way that people could carve more safely and more intricately. So he would take broken coping saw blades and jam them into dowels. And so these are some of the original tools that I grew up carving with.
Which look very similar to the little orange ones that we find today
Yes.
in our kits.
Yes.
Wow, that's so ingenious.
So when he passed away at 83, as a tribute to him, one of my sisters said, well, why don't we put his ideas together in a carving kit? So we thought that was an interesting thing. So we did some mock-ups and stuff.
Mm-hmm.
And then I was living in Denver because I got here in 70. And we went over to King Soopers to meet with the seasonal buyer with just our mock-up, and the lady said, no, you have to have production. So we actually produced about 5,000 of the original kit. So we then went national in 87. And so that first year, we sold 50,000.
You guys, your family sold 50,000.
Yes.
Wow.
Family and friends.
And that's here, right? You had a facility in Wash Park?
We had the facility in the basement. Yeah, we started in the basement here, and I think it was lucky that I'm on a corner because during October, for the first 5 years, we operated out of the basement here. And in October, we were sending out all these fresh pumpkins to like the Roseanne show or the Tonight Show or the Arsenio Hall show or a whole bunch of TV shows.
Your own personal family was able to cultivate these relationships nationwide with
TV shows? It was primarily, my wife took over the company when it became more than just a hobby. Mm-hmm. That second year. If you're displaying your pumpkin and the squirrels can get at it, then spray the outside with this solution and the squirrels won't nibble on them.
All right, neighbors, this is a really good tip. So What is that solution again, John?
1/3 bleach, 2/3 water. Spritz the inside and the outside.
Oh my gosh, I love this trick because I've tried the cayenne pepper trick. I've tried all kinds of things and nothing seems to work.
Well, this takes care of the squirrels and it retards so my pumpkins will probably be up for a week.
And every year he also comes up with a protest theme. So what will be today's or this year's theme?
Well, I think you can see it. Save our planet.
Save our planet.
Please. And then my friend who can take a photo and turn it into a pattern. James sent me the pattern for Greta. So the two of them will obviously be together on the porch.
Perfect. Can you give our viewers maybe 3 tips or your big tips on picking out the right pumpkin for carving?
What I like to do is find a pumpkin that's very smooth. It's not highly ribbed.
Okay.
So, and I typically have pumpkins that are more golden brown rather than yellow. They tend to be harder and last longer. Now, that's good for keeping them for a longer period of time, but since they are harder, the biggest tip is to scrape out the area that you're going to carve so that it's only 1 inch thick. So
tell me about your scoop too, because there's a story with
I originally did a scoop. I found a big ice cream scoop, but it had a big paddle and a long handle because it was made for ice cream, and it had a plastic handle and a aluminum scoop. So I cut it off and ground it on my grinder and cut off the handle and made it short. And I made 5 or 6 copies of this and sent them to my sisters, who are all the way from East Coast to West Coast. And they tried it that Halloween and said, yes, this is a success.
So our viewers can go and look at grandpabardeen.com, and I'll put that in our link here. But you have some fancy tools that you guys have on the website. So you can...
Yes, but if you go to Amazon, these 2 kits, this was the original one, and there's probably about 60 of these left in existence.
Wow.
It's not going to be redone in the near future because people wanted mostly tools, and so this is like a pumpkin carving party in a jar. It's got 20 tools and it works well for groups of 4 to 8.
Oh, how fun. What a great idea. Well, I cannot believe that we have the founder of the Pumpkin Carving Kit living in our Wash Park neighborhood. John, you are a wonderful person. It's been so fun getting to know you, and I appreciate you sharing your pumpkins with us. And then we'll go take a look at some of his other carvings.
If you're doing a regular pumpkin and you see where it sits, there tends to be a little ridge line here. And that's where you want to cut out because that's the thinnest part of the bottom of the pumpkin. So we have saws that are specific for cutting the bottom. It's a bigger saw, and cleverly we named it the bottom cutter. Just go ahead and scoop it. Put my thumb in here. I will stick my hand in and I will scrape, 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 rotate, scrape, 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 rotate. And then I'll dump it all out when I've gotten all the way around. Now this will get out most of the goop. You try and saw very perpendicular to the pumpkin in a straight up and down manner. As you can tell, you can saw with very little pressure. You don't need to force it.
Do you do any workshops or?
Yeah, we do. We've did one at History Colorado. Do them at my grandkids' schools. So I got to the neighborhood in 1972, bought this house in 72, and it was 850 square feet and $20 a square foot. So I've been putting pumpkins on the porch for quite a while. And we had a production line, and yeah, you're not supposed to poke it out with the blade, but oh well. Since I carve so straight up and down, I can get away with it. You gotta wash off all the, I call it pumpkin sawdust.
Aha, that's great.
It's cute. John, this has been such a fun experience. Thank you for sitting down with us and showing us your different pumpkins and going through an actual carving. And I love that you guys have some fun tools and things on the website, and you can download patterns.
There's patterns there, there's tutorials, and on the very first page, you can get a review of the whole carving process from picking your pumpkin to lighting it, and it's done in 33 seconds.
People can come by your home on Halloween.
That's right. I will have my pumpkins up in Halloween afternoon, and they'll be lit every night for probably a week. That's how they usually last, about a week. And the address is 201 South Franklin Street. So feel free to come by and photograph and say hi. And happy Halloween!
Happy Halloween!